When life knocks you down, and life will knock you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. We are having a storm here, so you may hear rain in the background, but I'm going to get this video done. So what we're going to talk about in this video is not only my spending during the month of July, but we're also going to talk about why I've hired a tax planner as opposed to a certified financial planner. And I have another video where I interviewed certified financial planners. So go back and watch that video so that you can see some of the reasons that I found a tax planner for next year. But I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. So let's talk about what was spent in July, and then I'm going to talk about how we compare July to June. First, we're going to go into what was spent in July. And boy, was it a doozy. I've just given you a heads up before we start seeing these numbers. But what I want to tell you is I'm going to compare my spending in July to my spending in June and see if my normal expenditures, not counting vacation, is still under $900 a month, which is my goal. The first thing that you see here is that my tax planning has a total of $3,000. And also, you see restaurant spending is $389.41. That is a big deal. I put $3,000 on my credit card because I do not have $3,000 in cash laying around. And I'm going to talk about the $3,000 that I spent on tax planning after I get through this video on my July spending. So we're going to keep going. But when we get to the total, remember that $3,000 of the total is my tax planning. I was not planning on spending $3,000 this month on a tax planner, but I found one, I interviewed with them, and that's what happened. But again, we'll get into that more at the end of the video. Let's talk about some of my regular expenditures and what they were during the month of July. So you can see that my regular spending, which was more than this in June, for PetSmart and Wags, which is for my dog, that spending was $198.20. Now, I did go on vacation, as you know, to Vancouver this month, and in August, I'm going on vacation to Nebraska. And what you'll see is that when I spend money on vacation, I spend a lot more than my $900 normal monthly expenses. And that's what we're trying to keep to. So after August, I will just be spending less than $900 a month. Vacation gas, $38.41. Now that was money that I spent on Ubers while I was in Vancouver to get from the hotel to the event, back to the hotel, and that was quite the July 4th weekend. We just had lightning, in case you saw something flash. My regular normal gas is $46.69. We are going to track my normal gas expenditure over the months to see what is normal gas and whether or not that really contributes to my $900 a month. Amazon, I spent $388.02 on Amazon. I don't like spending money on Amazon, but this month I really wanted to stock up on some things. Also, this month I bought myself a video bird feeder. A friend of mine had one, and I want to record videos of the birds as they're eating in my yard. So I bought myself a gift of a video bird feeder, and that was a lot of the Amazon expenditure. Lawn care. We had our lawn guy come twice this month, and sometimes it's hard for me to record his payments because I put the payments on Venmo. However, I'm trying to get better with your help in documenting my spending in tracking what I'm spending every single month. CVS, I mentioned that I have a blood glucose monitor and I buy 2 of them, but this month I bought 4 of them because I'm going to be traveling in August and I need to have those with me. So that was $194.59. I talk about taking out cash when I'm at Walmart when I need it. I took out $100 in the month of July, which is typical, but normally I may not need $100 for 3 or 4 months. However, I had a very expensive July, so I needed more cash. At Sam's Club, I spent $140.94. This is just on regular items that we need here in the house. Now, having said that, I paid the bill twice. I don't know how I made this mistake, but Sam's Club had a bill of $149 and some cents, and they sent me a message saying you're late paying your monthly bill. Well, I paid the $149, and then a day or two later, I think I saw an email or something, and I paid the $149 again. So I now have a credit at Sam's Club for $149. I am spending that this month in August to go to Sam's Club and use up that $149. I'm just stocking up on things for the house. The grand total for the month, and this includes my spending at Walmart of $355.22, is $7,539, which is well over my $900 limit. However, if you add up Sam's Club, Walmart, and what I've spent on my pet and gas, those are my 4 expenses that are normal. They come out to well under $900 a month. So technically, yes, I'm still under the $900 a month. What took me over was signing up with a tax planner, which we'll talk about in just a moment, and my vacation to Vancouver, which is once every 5 years. So that is not that bad. I will pay them all off as quickly as possible. Let's talk about my debt journey. I did not mention this last month, but I owe almost $30,000 on a line of credit that I used to buy real estate this year. I am paying that off. First, I will pay off my credit card, which has a very low balance, but it went back up. I had it at 0, and it went back up $3,000 because of the tax planner this month. So now I have to pay off the $3,000 and then the line of credit. Now, everything that I put on the line of credit is money that I could reuse in case of an emergency. So really, I'm building up my emergency money just in case something happens while I'm paying off the line of credit. I'm going to be very aggressive over the rest of this year paying off that line of credit and keeping my credit card bill at 0. Those are my goals for the rest of the year. And if you follow me every month, you'll get to see how well I'm sticking to those goals. So let's talk about what I spent in June. What I spent in June, just as a comparison to July, because I've only been doing these updates for a couple of months, but as we go along, I won't keep referring back to prior months. But I spent $1,633.36 in June. Most of that was a vacation trip that I had to Tallahassee. Again, when I go on vacation, I spend more than my $900. But I did not spend $900 in June on my normal monthly expenses. That's my goal, is to not spend more than $900 on normal monthly expenses. Please like and subscribe and share my channel with other people who are trying to go through a debt payoff journey and who are also showing their monthly wins. You can retire early on a low income. So let's talk about why I went with a tax planner as opposed to a certified financial advisor. I found a certified financial advisor months ago, and I talked to them about my real estate portfolio and what I wanted to do with it in the future. they said they could help me even though I do not have the required amount of assets for them to manage in the stock market. And as we talked about in my just recent video, assets under management is one way that a firm can charge fees. Well, I don't have assets for them to manage, but they claimed that they could help me with my future plans for my real estate. Well, they had me put together a holistic view of all my rental properties and send it to them. Then they said, we'll review this and tell you whether or not we can work with you. Well, while I was waiting for them to come back with whether or not they could work with me, I remembered a tax planner who works with other real estate investors and focuses on planning for people with real estate. And I contacted them. Yes, it cost me $3,000. And I worked with them. I had my interview with them. Now, for $3,000, what they give me is they look at, again, a holistic view of my real estate, and they give me a plan of how to best maximize taxes and real estate over the next 10 years. They also give me what they would do for my 2025 tax return. I will be hiring them to also do my 2025 tax returns because I lost money on an investment. It was real estate related, but it wasn't my real estate. But I loaned money out and lost money on that investment, and I need this tax firm to unwind that loan with me and the IRS in 2025. So I need a specialist for that. So that's why I'm hiring a tax planning firm that focuses on real estate as opposed to a certified financial planner who says that normally they charge assets under management, but they can help me with my real estate. Your budget is your freedom plan. Track it like your future depends on it, because it does. Remember, I'll be live on Friday at 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this Friday, I'll be talking about how to make more money on YouTube more than just AdSense. Always remember, never let your past determine your future.